Alright, so we're going to talk about DHCP. And I'm going to use this set of slides. It's from a different book, but it'll still work the same. It's the same basic concept. I just couldn't find the other ones. And so, to get this to work, we have had Roy move our machines into a different network. So if you were to look in the network properties of your machine, under the network adapter, it says DHCP allowed here. The reason we do that is, what DHCP is Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. It gives out addresses for other machines. And if you do that on a live network, you actually start giving out addresses to live machines. And most of the time in the training environment, we give out wrong addresses just to play with it. And people lose internet and they just start having issues. We've had so many times, like people up in Kansas will all turn on DHCP. Then little by little, the rest of the network goes down because everybody's getting these bogus addresses that don't work. Then we have to go figure out which machine has it on it. So we created this network called DHCP only, pretty much. So you're not connected to the rest of the network. So that's why that's there. All right. Now this machine should be there as well. Let's see if... Actually, we're paying Roy now, so maybe this is done correctly. Let's see. Yes, it is done correctly.
No, we're still paying off the fact that I was never paid for the initial sale.
Yes.
No,
Well,
no,
yeah,
I
but
still
you really...
expect shot of quality.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's talk about DHCP, okay? This is the Server 2008 book, but again, we're going to get it to work just fine. We need to install it. Let's go ahead and do that because we need that. We haven't installed it yet, have we? Okay. In your server, under Server Manager, go to Add Roles and Features. Where are you in my machine?
No.
Yes.
No.
Add Roles and Features, then go Next. Then Role-Based. Next. Then we want DHCP Server. Okay. And when it comes up, just click Add, and now we have a DHCP server. We're going to go Next, 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 and then Install. And it should install. It's pretty straightforward. Maybe. Maybe. Come on. You can do it.
This is the part where if I got it used to be connected.
Yes, that would suck. Okay. Let me pause it just for a second while this is installing. Okay, let's continue on here. Okay, so we got DHCP installed. So we're going to continue on here. If we go up under Tools, we should have the ability to configure DHCP. Okay. So I clicked on Tools, I went into DHCP. Okay. Now, yours is going to have a little red arrow on it. That's totally perfect. That's what it needs to be, so don't freak out yet. But let me see if the slides mention anything. DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, is made to automatically assign IP addresses and a bunch of other stuff, okay? It's defined in RFC 2131, and, you know, it's kind of, I mean, has anyone ever looked at an RFC? I mean, they're pretty, they're, how can I say that they're not written for the normal user? Because they usually get pretty high level. Like, they tell you exactly how this protocol should work and everything else. So they're really, it's kind of interesting, okay? It says clients use UDP port 68 to send and receive. Servers use port 67, okay? What I have is I have a machine we're going to put, or that already has Wireshark on it, so we're going to be able to see what a DHCP request looks like, okay? Way it works, we have a broadcast. The client sends out a broadcast called a discovery packet that says, hey, I need an address, okay? The server who's listening for that discovery packet makes an offer. So they said, hey, I got an address, and the client requests that address, said, yeah, that address looks good, and then the server says, okay, acknowledges it. It's Dora, just like Dora the Explorer. No one's in script programming, are they? We watched the Dora Explorer video yesterday in class. It was pretty amazing. You know what? That's it. We have to do it. Sorry. We just have to. We have to. I'm going to pause this recording for just a minute. We have to. Okay. So we're back from our movie break. Now, DORA is an acronym for Discover, Offer, Release, and Acknowledgement. That's the way the DHCP process works. And we're going to actually bring this up and see how each one of these work here in a minute. Okay. A few other things about it. Talk about the lease. You're giving an address for a length of time. You will notice there's settings you can, I think the default's 8 days, but you can change it to 1 hour, 1 day, or what is whenever expires? Infinity? Yeah, basically make it go forever. Okay, I don't recommend ever doing that. You can also set the scope. You can give out things like subnets. You can give out routers. You can give out all kinds of stuff. We're going to see all that as well. Okay. All right. This is the server, and we're gonna actually see this on our screen look a little bit different. But you see, this is the address they're giving out. Here's the lease expiration. So we're gonna see actual live leases being received here in a minute. Okay. All right. Actually, I think we need to go look at them. Well, let's talk more about this. Some of the options are IP address, subnet mask gateway, DNS servers, lease expirations. Then there's also reservations. Well, it was funny because when I worked at Tinker, I moved into the networking shop, and we went out and renumbered the entire AWACS domain manually. All 1,000 some odd machines had to give them all a manual IP address. I'm like, this is stupid. Why aren't we using DHCP? Oh, no, we can't do that. So then we did it the second time. I'm like, seriously? Why? This is because we have specific machines need specific addresses. Yeah, it's called a reservation. But the whole time I was there, like, no, we know what we're doing, and we can't do that. I'm like, you're idiots. Now they do it. So it was like, why? But an address with a reservation, kind of like here at Rose State. My machine in my office has different permissions than other machines on campus because I have specific ports I need to connect to vSphere and our licensing server. Well, they set up a reservation for my MAC address so that my MAC address got a specific IP address that allowed me through the firewall to get to specific ports. So kind of a really nice functionality, okay? All right, here's some of the stuff you can give out: routers, servers, domain names, Win servers, all this stuff you would normally want to configure on a client, you can actually do all through DHCP. We're going to do a few of them, okay? All right, and there, let's see. Here's the messages. The discover, offer, request acknowledgement. There's also a negative acknowledgement and a decline, okay? So we're going to look at those here in a minute. Okay. It says clients make these requests if they do not have a current lease on the scope. And we're going to get into more on that. And the lease renewal says the interval of between the time and when it's going to expire. Actually, I think let's go make one. I'm going to walk you through making one. Okay. All right. We all should be here, correct? Okay. The way this works is this is our DHCP server. Okay. And my server is KDewey S12 Rose whatever. Okay. Underneath there, you'll see IPv4 and IPv6. Okay. It should go very quickly.
It's
Melvin, you kill your machine again?
It's doing something.
All right. So, but without, we're going to configure IPv4. Okay. Inside here, we can see server options and policies. We just haven't done any of it yet. Okay. So we're going to go into IPv4, and we're going to right-hand click on IPv4. Okay. So I right-clicked on IPv4. We're going to go to new scope. A scope is kind of like a zone in DHCP. It's where you configure everything. Okay. Now I'm going to just call mine Ken's scope. Doesn't matter what you put in there. But you can put anything you want. Now, the IP address range. First of all, I need to see what is my IP address. Do you all know how to figure out what your IP address is? IP config. Figure out what your IP address is. You need to know it. I'm 10.10.102.1. What are y'all?
10.92.1.
Okay. You shouldn't. You're looking at your client. Look at your server. So you're at 192. You said.
They might still have.
Well, they should have static ones. I could be lazy and look over here. Okay, so you guys should be 9192 for the third octet, correct? All right, so you're going to need that number when we put our scope in here. Okay, so I'm 10.10.102. So what I'm going to put in for my scope is 10, 10, 102, and I want to give out addresses 5 through 10.10.102.50. Okay? You guys put something, because you all should be a .1, aren't you?
Yeah.
So then do whatever your IP address is, do 5 through 50 or something like that. That's fine. And you can change this. Okay? So no, but these are going to be the IP addresses that I'm going to assign to clients that connect to me. Okay? Now this next part, the subnet part where it says configure settings to propagate the client, they have a linked and subnet mask. Remember we talked about the CIDR, classless interdomain routing? And if you watch, if you actually extend this, you'll actually know, you'll see it makes your subnet mask for you. Isn't that special? So I want to have a Class B network with a 16, so 255.255.0.0. So it should be a length of 16. Everybody there? Y'all can do the same as me. Just make sure your numbers is different than mine. Your third octet should not be 102. It should be whatever you guys have. Okay? So let's go next. All right. Now, you could also exclude certain offers. Or not certain addresses. So I can say, you know, I'm giving out these entire 254 number block, but 5 and 10 are used for something else. So you could put an exclusion in there. We're not going to at this point, but you could. You could add a specific address. Like say if I did not want to give out one to number 6, I could say, you know what? We're going to not give one out to number 6. So even though I'm giving out 5 through 50, it's going to skip 6. So give out 5, then 7, then 8, 9, 10.
So you would put for start and end the same IP address? If you
Well,
just wanted one?
right, exactly. If you want just one, you put start and the end to be the same. Okay? And you can add it, then you can always remove it. Okay? All right, so let's continue on. Now here's the lease duration. Okay. It defaults to 8 days. Wow, they don't have unlimited anymore? Seriously? It sucked. It was terrible. Okay. This, it might be. They used to have an unlimited box. I guess zero's unlimited. Don't do unlimited. Pain in the ass. Okay. Let me explain why unlimited's bad. Okay. Actually, the slides might talk about it. Let me see. I don't know. But this is going to be on your homework. So I'm going to explain this to you. The way the lease works, let's say Cox at home, for instance. My Cox network at home, I have a lease. It's set for 24 hours. Okay? So they basically have it configured for 0 days, 24 hours. Well, not 23, 24. What the hell? Well, I guess that'll be 1 day, wouldn't it? Makes sense. Don't make me look stupid. Okay. So 1 day is 24 hours. Okay. The way the lease process works. So say at, midnight, I got my address. So if I have a 24-hour lease, how long do you think it's good for? You'd think 24 hours. No, it's not. It's not. What happens is you'll use that number for 12 hours. You'll use it for 50% of the lease duration. So 50% of the time, so in other words, so if we got it at midnight, so at noon, my machine's going to say, oh man, I'm running out of lease. I'm 50% already used up. So at that point, you contact the server you got it from and said, hey, this address is sweet. Can I keep it? And they'll renew it. Okay? But if they don't want to renew it, so say Cox is going to redesign their network this weekend. They know that at the very longest, every client's going to call in at noon, after 12 hours and ask if they can keep their number. Okay, make sense? So Cox knows that, say they configured their server, I got my address at midnight, and at 6 a.m., they want to reconfigure their network, so they go and reconfigure their network. Okay? They know at noon, 6 hours later, I'm going to say, hey, can I keep that address? And all they have to say is, nope, I want you to have this new one. So they know within a very short period of time, the entire network's going to call in. Okay, so what happens is, so at 50% of the time, you ask if you can keep the address. If the server does not respond, like say Cox has just turned off their old server, it's at 72.5% of the time, the client, keeps looking, you keep trying to renew it, but then at 87, I think it's 87, is it? Hold on, it's been a while since I've seen these numbers. Let's see if it's in here. Come on, where's the least hold on. You know what? I got this awesome website. Hold on. DHCP least renewal times. Renewal times. Okay, should give it's like 72.5. That's not it. Oh, come on. Can't remember the exact numbers, and naturally it's not on my slides this time. There's the ports. After first 4 attempts, wait 5 minutes and retry. It's got to be in here somewhere. Let me see if I can't do the whole. Okay, here it is. So it says by default, the DHCP clients try to renew their lease when 50% of the lease time requires. To renew it, they send a rebroadcast message. Okay, automatically renews the process. The X message, blah blah blah. Hold on. Once it's renewed, what happens if it couldn't renew? There it is. Okay. So if the client was unable to communicate to the DHCP server from which it obtained its address at 87.5% of the time, okay, when 87.5% of the time has expired, it will attempt to contact any available server. So it basically gave up. So it's going to continue trying, but at 87.5% of the time, it's going to stop looking from that server. See, so okay, you got the 50% time. Y'all know that? What happens is you're actually making a unicast message. Say Roy's the server. So he gave me the number at midnight. So at noon, I'm going to send a unicast message, which is a message straight to Roy that says, Roy, can I keep this number? Okay. If Roy says yes, we're good. If Roy does not say anything or I can't get hold of them, when 87.5% of my lease duration time has hit, at that point I give up on Roy. I stop trying to contact Roy, and I send out another discovery packet to all servers, like it says here. It says attempt to contact any server by broadcast. So now I'm going to send out that whole discovery packet again and say, hey, is there anybody out there that can give me an address? So what's that? It's gonna be. So if I got my address at midnight, noon's 50% of the time. So 6 p.m. will be about 75% of the time. So about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night is when I'd give up and look for a new address. So Cox knows within one day everybody on their network's going to get a new address. Okay. There's also, I don't know why they didn't mention 72, but okay, that's good enough though. All right, so let's continue on. So if I set 8 days, so if I set my lease at 8 days, when's it going to ask if it can keep it? 4 days, exactly. If I set it to 1 hour, it's going to ask in 30 minutes. Okay. But if you set it to 0, which is unlimited, it used to have a checkbox where you just do unlimited, it never asks for a new one. And I've done that. I did that at Chapel Supply, one of my clients, because they didn't need to change. Well, we needed to change them. And to get them to release their address was a real pain in the butt. We actually had to, in Windows Device Manager, remove their network cards and re-add them again. Because it would not try to get a new address. Because it says, no, I'm good. No, no, I'm good. You told me to keep it forever. It sucked. It was really a pain in the butt. That's why I don't recommend doing that. Okay? But default's 8, so we'll just leave it at that for now. Okay? So just leave yours at 8 days for now. Okay. Would you like to configure options? We can say yes or no. Let's just do yes. We're going to do it. We can configure a router or a default gateway. And our gateway is 10.10.254.254. Okay? And so that's what you all should be putting in there. You could put in more than one address, but does anyone know how Windows works with multiple default gateways? It only uses one. It was funny because I used to take care of the Cox Communication Center. It used to be called SMG the Marriott. Now it's Cox Communication Center. But when the way their system works is there's an SMG managed company out of, I think it's Philadelphia. They, years ago when I took care of them, they had an ISDN line. If you don't know what an ISDN line is, it was one of the faster connections at the time. But they had an ISDN line connecting Oklahoma City to Philadelphia. All their traffic went through that, 100% of the traffic. I mean, if they want to surf the web, they want to do everything, it all went through there. But they blocked everything. I mean, there was no downloading attachments, there was no watching movies, there was no nothing. But so when it became Cox Communication Center, the reason the name's on the building is Cox gives them free internet. And it's super fast, high speed. I don't know how many, what their connection speed is, but back then it was really darn quick. So when we got that installed, Cox said, oh yeah, no problem. Just point your gateway to us, which worked great. We could have internet now. But the problem was whenever they needed to do management or any financials for the SMG company, they had to connect through the ISDN line. So what they would do is you had to go into their computers. They'd have their gateway pointed at Cox, do all their stuff on the internet. Then they have to go into their computers, network setting, network adapter properties, change, because you see there's an up and down button. They would have to change the order of the gateway to set it to the Philadelphia network, reboot their machines. Then they do their finances, then they change it back to Cox, reboot their machines, surf the internet. And it was really a pain in the butt. They did that for a very long time until one day I'm like, why don't we just, set up a static route in the router? And what we ended up doing was, on the Cox router, we had everybody point, because you can only have one gateway. Even if you have two listed, you can only use one. So what we did was we had everybody point to Cox, but I went into the Cox router and I said, okay, everything goes out to the internet. But if you want to get to this one specific network, go that way. So all the packets hit the Cox router, but if they needed to get to the financial network, it kind of turned around and went back out the other way. And it worked great. So Cox said it couldn't be done, but it worked. So I'm like, whatever. So it worked fine. So when I stopped taking care of them, they were still there. So, okay. So let's continue on. They didn't pay me enough, and I don't want to do it anymore. So once they got the Ford Center, I guess it's now the Chesapeake Arena involved, and Ticketmaster, I'm like, oh, no, you don't pay me enough for that crap. Okay. You can give out your domain name. Obviously, it should be defaulting whatever your domain is. Okay? And you can also give DNS servers. You can give multiples if you want. It's going to default to yours because we are our own DNS server. So does everybody have your address in there? So what that means is it's going to give out your domain name and your address as a DNS server. Okay? The reason I know that says at the top, this is DNS servers. So I'm going to go next. Okay? I can give out Win servers. We talked about Win servers a little bit. Windows Internet Name Services. Not really needed anymore, but if you had one, here would be a good place to configure it. Okay? We're going to leave it blank.
Would that default gateway actually be valid since we're not connected?
It's not going to work anyway. Yeah, it's not going to work. So, all right. So, it asks if you want to activate the scope now. We can say yes. That's fine. All right, and then finish. Now, you'll notice under IPv4, you still got a red arrow, but we have our scope here. And if I expand the arrow of my scope, you'll see I see my address pool. Those are the addresses I'm going to give out. I'm going to give out 5 through 50. Everybody seeing the same thing? You'll see my leases. I'm not giving out any yet, which we will in a minute. Here's my reservations. Let's look at reservations for a second. So I'm going to go in reservations. I'm going to right-click on reservations, say new reservations. This was actually one of the test questions for DHCP if you want to get certified in it. We're going to call this Ken's Reservation. And we're going to give out 10.10.102.80. I don't know, just pick the number. Now, for this to work, you need the MAC address. Now, I happen to have, well, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to bring it one so you can see what it looks like. If you do ipconfig all, you will see a whole bunch of physical address. Let me find my main adapter. There's my main adapter. Now you see right here this physical address. I'm going to mark it. This is my physical address right there. Okay. That's what a MAC address is, a physical address. So I'm going to enter that into my machine. It's not going to work. Don't worry about it. But I just want to, well, hell. I snapped a screen crap. Stupid. Okay, so I'm going to put in BC30 5B CC 61C. Okay? And you can give it a description, and you can say, is it going to be DHCP or boot P? This is going to be DHCP only. Now, for the certification exam, the question was kind of weird. This has killed everybody. The question was read, which two pieces of information do you need to assign a specific IP address to a client? So what do you think the two pieces are? So which two pieces of information do you need to assign a specific IP address to a client using a DHCP reservation? MAC address is one.
Specific IP address.
No, we're assigning that.
We're assigning that. So that's why a lot of people pick that. We're already assigning that. So what two pieces do we need to know?
Reservation name.
Just the name, exactly. So many people get that wrong. It's like you're assigning a specific address. So you have that. So it's the question's kind of misleading, but that's what it was, and it was one of those tests like, duh, but if you don't think about it, you're like, oh yeah, IP address. No, that's not. You're already doing that. So I'm going to do add. So we added a reservation. Now if I go in here and you look, you'll see there's an address reservation for Ken. So I clicked on the reservation name, and you'll see all these options. Remember we configured the options? We configured the router, the domain name, and DNS servers. Remember that? So those are all configured now for Ken's reservation.
I can't add one.
You can't add yours. Hold on. Let me come look at it. Let me pause this for a second.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So we got my reservation. Now, if you ever want to change it, if you double click on it, well, okay, just if you right click on it and do properties of it, you can go in and change it. You can go in and change the MAC address. You can't change much else. You can't change the IP address. You have to delete it. Okay? All right, so we got a reservation. And now if you get under scope options, those are those options we pre-configured. Now we could add more. We could right click over here and say configure options, and we could put other stuff. We could put in name servers, FTP servers, log servers, cookie servers. We could give out all kinds of information. Okay? So it's, yeah, you could look at all those things. Jeez. So you could give out tons and tons of them. All right, so we're going to hit cancel here. But if you did do them, they would appear on this list, and they would be giving out to the clients. Now, there's also an option called server options. See how our server options is empty? Because we configured options specific to this scope, but you can also configure, say, maybe we have multiple scopes. Because I'm only giving out, what address am I giving out? I'm giving out 5 through 50. I can have multiple different scopes. So, and since the scope options pertain to specific scope, I could use the server options, and they would pertain to all scopes. Understand? So maybe I got 5 scopes, so I could have the server options where those would, like, let me add one. I'm going to add a server option. I'm going to right-click on it and say Configure Options. I'm going to add a time server. And this is going to be me. 10.10.102.1. You can do it if you want. You don't need to. That's fine. So I'm going to add that. So now you'll see under server options, I have a time server. Okay. Now if I look in scope options, you'll see I also have time server. It was inherited from the server. Okay. You can see it's got a little server on the side. That's how you know it was a server option. But these are scope options. Okay. Everybody with me? Kind of, somewhat, at least a little bit. All right. So we can configure all those options. There's something new in here called filters. They're buggy. They still don't work right. What they are, this came out, I guess, about Server 2008. Okay, you can have it where you can only give out addresses to machines that meet specific criteria, like a certain MAC address. Like our VMware machines all have a specific MAC address. That's what we were originally using it for. We said VMware machines got one address. The Dell machines on the desks got a different address. So we had filters in there for that. They work sometimes, but sometimes they didn't. So it's not the easiest thing. I don't know why they had issues with it, but you could put in, a partial MAC address and filter based on that. Okay? All right, we're not going to look at IPv6. I want to see this thing work. Okay? Now, there's my reservation. Actually, yeah, we can leave that in there. My machine, you'll notice, got a red arrow on it. Y'all have red arrows on yours? Okay. What that means is your machine is not authorized. Let me explain what that does. When I worked at Tinker, this was prior to 2000, so probably 1999 time period. It was funny because the entire Tinker network went down. Like, oh crap! Well, not the entire, but a very large section of the Tinker network went down. And we're all freaking out. What's going on? Well, somebody built a server at their desk and installed DHCP. And just started giving out bogus addresses to the entire network at Tinker, and it sucked. And it took us a very long time to find this machine because it was giving out. It turned out it was somebody over in 3001 just decided to make a server. And what sucked was they said their IP address for the same IP as the gateway, so no one could get out. It sucked. So what they did is Microsoft has now made it where you can authorize a server. Hence ours. Okay. If they're not authorized, they will get kicked offline. I mean, if you just bring up a DHCP server without Active Directory, the Active Directory network will kill it. It's kind of like hunts it out and looks for it and takes it offline. So what we need to do to ours should be authorized. Where's it at? Come on. Right there. You click on your server name and go to authorize. Click on your server name right above the scope and do authorize, and it should become green. I said it should become green. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, mine's green. I had to do refresh, but it's green now. Okay? Hit the little refresh button. Did everybody get there? It's turning green? Okay. So what that means now is we are giving out valid addresses. All right? Yours turned green? Okay. So if we were not in Active Directory and we brought up the DHCP server, what happens is the rest of our servers would kill it. It would literally take it offline, which is a good thing to solve that problem we had at Tinker, because that was right above IP4. Click on your name, then go to authorize. All right, now I'm going to go into this machine over here. This is my machine. I mean, look, see, we've got an IP address. IP. Okay, I have no address. Okay, so I'm going to get one by saying IP config renew. Okay, now I'm going to send out a renewal request, and Roy, will you stop screwing with this thing?
I'm not touching it.
Oh.
Not me.
Okay, I'm going to say renew. Okay, someone's got an IP conflict on our network. Okay, so it gave me an address. So I'm going to stop this recording. Let's see who I got my address from. I got an address 190 or 10.10.95-2. It came from who's the domain rose-95.edu. It's got to be one of you. Has to be. You're guilty. Okay, no, that's fine. That's totally fine. So he gave me an address. So if I was to leave it there, don't change it. Now if I did ipconfig all, now this is on the client machine. Now I went up here to look at it. You'll see that my DHCP server is 10.10.95-1. Okay, there's my DNS server. He gave me all that stuff's in there. He gave me the domain name at the top. All that was given to me by the server. Okay, kind of handy stuff. Now let's go look at this DHCP traffic in here. Okay, now let's start near the bottom. Okay, I want to filter protocol PROTO. Is that spelled right? Doesn't have to be uppercase, does it?
I was always bad at these, so I don't know.
IP.proto. No, it doesn't like it that way? Come on. How about you do DHCP? No, well, hell with you. We're just not going to do it. Okay. So So let's look at the DHCP packets in here. Okay.
Nobody presses the expression button ever. Nobody.
It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. No one likes it. Okay. So there's the acknowledgement. I want to find out when we got my address. Okay, I'm looking for what I get. 95-2. Let's look for. Okay, here's some. There it is. Discover, offer, request, and acknowledgement. Okay. There's the DORA.
95 and 96 for finding on this.
Yeah, 95, 96 are both trying to give out an address. See that? 95 offered one, and 96 offered one as well. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start this again. Can you stop your server? And when I tell you to stop your server, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go into your machine and you don't have to delete it. Well, you can if you want, but I want you to, it's under Alt Task Stop. Yeah, right click on your server name, go Alt Task Stop. But did you see? Well, yeah, just do stop. We'll look at the thing when we get that up on mine. So stop your server. Okay. So now if I release my address, so if I do ipconfig release, I should now have a 169 or no address. Okay. Now I'm going to do renew. And if I was capturing traffic at the moment, which I'm not, I should get an address from somebody else. I should. Oh, I got it. All right. Come on, I know, because whenever it pops up, it says the same. Yeah, I got it from 96. Who's that? Are you 96, Corey?
I'm 92.
Who's 96? Are you 96? Okay. Now, on her machine, each of you will see this on yours when we get out to you. But if you go down, if you open up your scope, and if you look on address leases, do this on yours, Melissa. On your scope, open your scope up, and go to address leases. You should see me in there. You should see the reservation. You see one of you found it. You see it? Okay. So that's basically my machine. Now I want you to click on the server name and stop yours, so you don't give out one again. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna release again. Did you stop yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to renew it. It'll go for a second, and it'll pop up with that identify this network stupid box, which I still don't know what that means. Come on. It's a stupid box. There it is. Okay. I got one from 95. Who's 95? I thought you stopped yours. You gave me an address again. You guys. Okay, you need to stop yours.
So just go for like the lowest number.
I really don't know the rhyme or reason, because what it was funny because we had some students when I was doing this in the past, and you know when you give out the domain name, well, students are putting in stuff like "you suck" or "Roy's an idiot," something like that. But one of my students put in there like Billy Bob's mom's fat or something like that. That student got pissed. So I'm like, stop it. So stop your darn server. So he did. So we're going through the room again. He turned the darn thing back on. Billy Bob's mom's fat. And then the kid's like, oh, he was getting really, really frustrated. It's like, come on, leave your server off. It was so funny. I mean, it wasn't, but you know what I mean. It wasn't. But it's like, seriously, do you have to do it? But then once that started, everybody else started doing it. You're going home already?
No. Where'd Brett go? Oh, there he is.
You're actually having class?
I did have class. I got this thing.
And when are you having class?
I had class a little bit. They told me how to write a paper.
It was that paper?
Yeah, I wrote this. That's right.
All right. Come on, somebody else got to give me an address. Let's go.
Oh, my address is free.
No, I want one. Come on, my server's still up. Let me give myself one. All right, let's see if we're actually capture interfaces. Start. Continue without saving. Come on. Got a lot of ARP crap. Okay, someone's offering me a DHCP6 address. There's a Discover. So that's me asking. And again. Are the rest of you sleeping or something? Including my own server? But I want to open up this Discover packet real quick. Okay? So while it's running, I open up this Discovery packet. And I should be able to go up in here. Now, you'll notice the source is this address. I know it's hard to see. But this source should be me. So if I go in here and look, my MAC address is what? Is it ever going to give me one? Well, I'm going to stop mine for a second.
Oh, you know why?
Did you screw something up?
No, this is VMware fault.
Hold on. I'm going to show you here. So you'll see the source right here. The source of Discovery packet is 005056A4344F. You see that right there? That's me. So you can find out who's asking for the request. And you'll notice the destination's all F's. You know what that means? It's a broadcast. So that's what we're sending it out to everybody. Okay, so let's see if we got an address yet. See if Roy can... Did Roy kill it? We got another Discover. Another Discover. How come we... Roy, what'd you do?
No, it's VMware. One might be coming over there pretty soon.
I hire one person to take care of VMware. That would be you. So,
I can only take care of the code so much.
come on. Come on. Oh. No, that's not it. Darn it. Oh, another Discover. Well, I'm hoping I get a packet sooner or later. Would be nice. Yeah, I'm going to try going into my machine. I don't know if this will make a difference, but I'm going to restart my DHCP service. I don't know if it'll help. I mean, you two don't turn yours on though, because I wanted somebody else to get one.
If I understand correctly, it probably won't.
What's going on? Why isn't it working? Oh, there's an offer. Someone offered one. Someone offered one. Another person with the same offer. Okay. Oh, hold on, stop. Oh, I got a network. I got one. All right, so let me stop this recording. So let's see who I got it from. We got an offer, request, and acknowledgement. So the offer came from... if I make this a little bigger. Okay, the offer came from source 100.1. Who's 100?
That's me.
All right, Sam.
Yep, that's the issue.
All right, so we got one from Sam. Yeah, whatever, I don't care. We're just playing here. All right, so Sam offered me one, so if he was to look in his address leases area, it would show one. Okay, turn yours off now. Release. Is yours off? And renew. Come on, I'm looking. Oh, got one. Alright, so you'll see again, we'll have the Discover Office Requests and Acknowledgement again. This one came from 99.1. Alright, good. So turn yours off. Now, as you give one out, make sure you look in your scope address leases, and you'll see my machine in there. Because that's where you manage them. You can delete them, whatever, all from in there. All right, so turn yours off. Let's release this and renew. So how'd you fix it, Roy? Why is it working again all of a sudden?
VMware.
Oh, got one.
Switches.
All right. So we got one, and that was...
That should be everyone that's on in this room at least.
Where'd it go? I want to see it. There it is. Discover offer request acknowledgement. All right. So you got me one. Yeah, that's 94. So I'm going to stop it, release it. I wonder why I haven't given one out yet. Okay, so yours is off now? Okay. Let's wait for another one. So 4 of us got it to work so far.
Like I said, everyone that's on in this network should be.
Oh, we got one. Yes. Who'd I get it from? I got it from 93. All right. It's Caleb, isn't it? Yep. All right. Okay, so turn yours off now, Caleb. You know what I mean, the stop your service. Release. Okay, and I'm going to do renew. So y'all see the service does actually work? It's kind of, but you're not supposed to have multiple servers. This is what's causing a slight of an issue. But it's all right. We get it to work. Okay. Whoa, I didn't find one. Oh, got one. All right, I got it from 92. Who's 92? All right.
Mine's kind of restarting.
Great. All right. Well, you gave me one right before you died. Okay, I'm going to release it. See if I can renew and get one from someone else before yours comes up. When yours comes up, though, turn it off.
Okay.
Up, got one from you again.
Waiting for a connection.
Close it. Open it back up.
Yeah, close your console window, then open the console back up. Renew. Let's see what that gives me. All right, I'm going to stop this recording as we go through the rest of these because they're all going to be the same. Okay. There's something called failover. Okay? Normally, you only have one DHCP server on your network. Okay, but is it really a good idea to only have one? I mean, if that one goes down, what happens to your network? You're kind of dead. So what they recommend doing is splitting the scope and basically set up failover. For example, okay, see how they talk about the 70% and 30%? I don't know if I can make it bigger. Can I make this bigger? Zoom in or something? Where'd that go? Okay, zoom in. Okay, they talk about it here. They talk about typically 7% of the addresses are assigned to the primary and the 30% are assigned to the backup. What that means is, so I'm in charge of the business division's DHCP. Say I got 100 addresses. We have more than that, but just say for scope, sake of argument, there's 100 addresses in this building. I would only give out 70% of those addresses. Then I would configure a backup server in the math building to give out the other 30. What happens is you make a registry entry, which I don't know what the registry entry is, but you make a registry entry on another server that's not DHCP, and you say, hey, there's a backup DHCP server in the math building. So what happened is people get them from me. But if for some reason I stopped responding, then at least 30% of the addresses can be received from the math building. Understand how that works? Okay. And that's the way it works. So if we had 100 addresses, I would give out 70 as the primary server. The backup server would give out 30%. Now, normally when you do this, say the math building has 100 addresses as well. So they're my backup. They're giving out 30 of the 100. Okay. I'll be their backup. So for their subnet, they give out 70 of the addresses, and I'll do the other 30. Understand that? Yeah, and you configure it just by adding a registry entry. I just don't know what it is offhand. But it's going to be, let's see if registry's in here. Registry. No, it's not. Okay, we're going to find out real quick. DHCP backup server, registry settings. Should be in here somewhere. Get all registry keys, backup locations. There it is. Well, there's backup interval. So it's under local machine system, current control set, DHCP, and then parameters is where the backup address, the address of the backup server goes. Okay. So I thought there was another way. Well, okay, but that's just a very important thing you need to know because that was also on the certification test, and that's on your homework. Okay. So remember, if it's 100 addresses, and I'm the primary, how many should I give out? 70. So if there's 200 addresses, how many should I give out? 70% of 200. It's not that difficult, okay? So when on the homework, I tell you, you are the primary server for this scope. This scope is 200 addresses. So do you use all 200 addresses? No. Now what you could do, a lot of places do it this way. They put in all 200 addresses. Then they exclude 30% of them. That way, if anyone was to look at the server, they'll say, okay, I'm in charge of this whole scope, and 30% are excluded, and you put a comment in there, you know, they're over the math building. Okay? So that's the way it's normally done. Okay? Everybody understand that? Okay. Now, your homework is up there. We're running out of time anyway. Your homework is in the is under the content page. I added the DHCP slide. There's your homework. It's not that hard to figure out. I added the Dropbox entry, or the Dropbox due date for DNS as of this Sunday. Okay? Since I didn't have it on there, I totally forgot to tell you when DNS was due. Some of you have already done it. I think 4 of you have already done it, correct? Somebody? Maybe? Okay.
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
I went ahead and used what VMware I had. Is that okay to do? Because they wouldn't let me make a new one.
Oh, no, you're supposed to make it in this one here.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, do it on the server I gave you.
Okay.
Yes, that's definitely fine. So I'm going to make this DHCP due the next Sunday. So I don't want them all to do it at the same time. Due date of 16th. Sound good? Y'all can live with that? And then... Alright. Okay, so there are those days. But do that homework. It's not very hard. You will be doing the same thing on the exam. I'm going to wipe out all your servers. You're going to have to install DNS. You're going to have to install DHCP. You're going to have to configure a specific scope or a zone for DNS. You're going to have to configure 2 scopes for DHCP. I make you figure it out as if you're the primary and then you're someone's backup server. So you're doing 70% for the primary, 30% as if you were the backup. So easy enough to figure out. So what do you think? DHCP pretty simple? Okay. I need you all to go into your servers and remove DHCP so we can put you back on the regular. Actually, we don't need to be on the regular network, do we? But, well, okay, we'll put you back on the regular network, but don't activate your servers. You know how when we got it all done, we went and started them? Yeah, we're stopping them now. Well, no, I can't see the scopes then, can I? Hold on. So we're going to start it. We should be able to not activate the scopes and we should be set. We want to deauthorize it. That's what we want to do. Hold on. Where's it at? Unauthorized. So this should go down. Yeah, there it is. It's down. So if you unauthorize your server, they will go red again. So they won't be giving out addresses. Everybody see that? Right click on your server name. Just do unauthorize. That way you can still configure it. But do you guys need internet access on these machines? On the servers? I don't think you do. Because you can always use internet, if you don't know, like I am, use internet on the client machine you're sitting at. Okay? It'll be easier if we leave you off the regular network. That way, because I really don't want you guys to activate a scope that's invalid and start killing the Rose State network again. That sucked.
I'm gonna make rules for all of this. Everybody should be able to hand out DHCP. Then again, they should have been able to initially. So.
Well, all right, but so you're good. It's about it's 4 o'clock. Y'all's clock say 4 o'clock? All right, so we're done for tonight. So that's all DHCP. Your homework's up there. You can start it. Turn your machines off, please, when you're done with them. Okay. All right. So hopefully you all got that. Let me stop this recording.